Hey Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan. The G20 Sherpa Amitabh Kant is quite chuffed. That's because Kozhikode, of whom he is a former collector, has now been crowned as the City of Literature by UNESCO. Meanwhile, GST revenue collection for October 2023 is the second highest ever since the goods and services tax came into being. 1.72 lakh crore rupees was collected in October, which is the 13% up year-on-year increase. Yes, average gross monthly GST collection now stands at 11% higher year-on-year. Retail inflation for industrial workers is eased to 4.72% in September compared to 6.91% in August this year. Similarly, food inflation is also reduced to 6.52% against 10% of the previous month. And Bharat's infrastructure sector closed September quarter on a firm note. Automobile dispatches saw a record October as festivals kept the demand up, highlighting the twin drivers of the economy: government capital expenditure and high-end consumption. The index of 8 core industries rose 8.1% in September from a year earlier. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacting with India's Para-Asian Games contingent at the Major Dhyan Chand National Stadium in the national capital. He congratulated them for outstanding achievement and, of course, motivated them for future competitions. Bharat has won a total of 111 medals this year, which is a 54% increase over the previous best performance in 2018. But, ladies and gentlemen, we set up debate number one of the conversation around the entire hacking episode, Snoopgate 2.0 and the George Soros connection. Whose mischief is it?
राहुल गांधी रहे थे, लेकिन ये जो स्क्रिप्ट थी ये जॉर्ज सोरेस की थी।
Why is this Apple alert come only to opposition leaders and to some journalists and not to anybody from the ruling party? We're asking for the government to clarify.
Who's behind the alert and who's hacking who? These are questions that remain, ladies and gentlemen, even as a few members of parliament received an alert on their Apple devices, and this happened on Tuesday, warning them of a possible attack or threat from state-sponsored attackers. That prompted MPs largely from the opposition bloc, in fact all of them from the opposition bloc, to point in the direction of the Modi Sarkar and blame them for hacking and snooping on their devices. Now, this Wednesday comes a big twist in the entire case. The BJP alleging that the opposition had fallen prey to a sinister plot laid by billionaire investor George Soros. Either they had fallen prey to it or they were only singing the same tune, or something which is part of the larger Soros toolkit. Now, let's take a look at what exactly are the allegations that the BJP is making. First up, the first big claim is communication was sent by an NGO linked to George Soros. BJP's claim number two is that Apple's follow-up text was sent by Soros' organization. BJP's claim number three is the follow-up mail suggests Soros linked to accessnow.org. And claim number four, Soros funded the NGO working with the tech giant. Clear connection between the alert and the Soros-funded NGO. And the sixth claim is Soros-funded organization's digital security helpline cited this alert. There's another claim, number 7. The opposition is actually providing a platform to George Soros, who's trying to undermine Bharat and its growth story. Now, whether this is foolproof, this link is foolproof or not, is a subject matter of debate, and also investigation. But many experts believe that it's not far-fetched given George Soros' antecedents. Who is George Soros? George Soros is a Hungarian-born American billionaire investor who is accused of trying to meddle in the democratic processes across the world on many occasions. So if there is really a Soros' link, here's why it's a problem. He's a man who's quoted many controversies, especially in Bharat's context. He's the person who said that he's going to set up $1 billion to remove some of the leaders who he believed are not aligned to his ideological and thought process, and that included Prime Minister Narendra Modi, a comment he's made way back even ahead of the 2019 elections. A mega political war actually broke out when Rahul Gandhi met Sunita Vishwanath, who's been accused of being quote-unquote a Soros proxy, alleging that her organization for Afghan women received funds from George Soros. Now, amid the war of words, Soros' NGO Open Society Foundation's Vice President Salil Shetty walked with Rahul Gandhi on October 11, 2022 during the Bharat Jodo Yatra. George Soros had in 2020 announced a plan to set up $1 billion fund to build a global network of higher educational institutions that will help students put up a resistance against growing nationalism. Soros had also said the biggest and most frightening setback to open societies comes from Bharat, where a democratically elected Narendra Modi is creating a Hindu nationalist state. Bharat has been watching out for Soros and his organization, the Open Society Foundation, and its activities. It was even put on a watch list by the Home Ministry back in 2016. Also, why was Soros' NGO put on the watch list? Open Society Foundation started operations in Bharat back in 1999. Now it is accused of supporting anti-Bharat elements inside the country. The organization allegedly funded left-leaning media organizations in our country. OSF is believed to have collaborated with pro-Pakistan, anti-India narrative peddlers. OSF also funds several NGOs in Bharat. And this is not at all even the entire caste-based litigation which is being pushed in some of the cities in the United States. We are given to understand the allegation is that it is OSF-linked entities, and even certain Pakistan, pro-Pak entities, ISI-backed entities have also got direct, indirect links with former members of Open Society Foundation saddling those. And it's a very complex flowchart which is out in public domain, ladies and gentlemen. So the question is, whose mischief is it? And who's behind this threat? Apple or Soros?
Hello, Moto.
Well, we should add another question. Who's behind the hacking? Who's the state-sponsored entity? Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, is with us. Anand Ranganathan, author, with us. Sanjay Jha, political analyst, with us. Javed Ansari, senior journalist, with us. Namaste, Jai Hind to everybody. Thank you very, very much. Sanjay Jha, what would you infer? Access.org sends this alert of a state-sponsored hack alert.
Can I answer you
Yes,
very quickly?
please.
In bullet points, and I'm going to once again request no interruption from anybody. I won't take too long. The BJP is the biggest fake news manufacturing company in the world. So I am right away at the very beginning going to tell you, it's so paranoid when it gets caught that it looks for, somebody to blame. And what is more convenient than some foreign conspiracy that 99% of Indians don't know, but the rhetoric can fly. Point number 2, let's go back very quickly, Anand, to the Pegasus spyware issue. The Narendra Modi government, the Supreme Court said, did not cooperate with the investigation. They had appointed a special committee. The viewers of your program, a very popular program, should know, why did the Narendra Modi government not cooperate with the investigation? Food for thought is a very serious acquisition made by the Supreme Court. Point number 3, 5 of the 29 phones given, many people were so scared of giving their phones they would have Pegasus implanted on them, but 29 people gave it. 5 of those phones were found with malware. Now here is what the Supreme Court said. It said we could not confirm that they were Pegasus, so it was in a sense inconclusive. But the question that comes up is that 16% of the phones were infected with spyware. Point number 3, very important. Very important. You know, India struck a deal with Israel in 2017 worth $2 billion. And we all saw pictures of Netanyahu and Narendra Modi walking in the beaches near Israel.
Right.
Here is the point. The New York Times established the fact that there was a purchase of Pegasus in that deal. In Parliament, the IT minister said, or rather did not confirm or deny whether Pegasus was bought or not. The simple question that anybody is asking even today is, Bhaiya, aap ye to batao, Pegasus aapne liya tha ya nahi liya tha? Because the NSO can
Sanjay ji, now I have to interrupt because you said you'll not take too much of time.
No. Just give me 1 more minute and I'm done.
Okay.
Just 1 more minute.
Okay.
The minister was asked, did you buy Pegasus or not? He did not confirm, he did not deny. I'll tell you why the government actually lied to Parliament and to the Supreme Court. Because the New York Times came out with an investigation in 2022 where they said that Pegasus was around valued at 300 crores and was part of that Israel deal, which means Mr. Modi's government misled the Parliament and the Supreme Court.
Right.
By the way, nobody from the government has yet gone and challenged the New York Times report other than the spokesperson saying that it was a New York Times report.
Correct.
My last point, and I'm done with that.
Okay.
Last part, we're done with that.
Okay.
Obviously, only the opposition leaders have been targeted, but the very important point, in 2019, WhatsApp said that the Pegasus software was being used in the video calls to target journalists and activists, linking back once again to the Bhima Koregaon case. I think this government has been snooping. It started in Gujarat. It continues today.
Right. Okay, you made a lot of points. Sanju Verma will respond to a lot of the political allegations. I have just 1 or 2 observations which I would like to park in for the benefit of our viewers and our fellow panelists. From my limited understanding of the tech world, and Sanjay Jha, you had entered the tech world much before I did, and you also turned entrepreneur and sold off to a higher bidder, and congratulations on that. But the fact is there is a difference between spyware and malware, my limited understanding. So to use the term loosely is irresponsible. Secondly, sir, although you believe that the BJP, and your allegation is that the BJP has jumped to guard and make it a foreign conspiracy, the alert says state-sponsored, does not say which state. And that question has not been asked whether it is Chinese state-backed hackers, Russian state-backed hackers, North Korean state-backed hackers, and the fact is that this alert has been sent to more than 150 countries. So if it is the Indian state, why is it actually state-sponsored in 150 countries, including Uganda? Point to ponder. I'm just making these alerts that nowhere in those alerts does it say it is a particular specific state or a specific entity backed by which state. It's not mentioned anywhere. So those are observations. Now Sanju Verma, the political allegation that the BJP is busy snooping only the opposition, because if it is a hacking effort, then anybody and everybody should get it. Why only the opposition MPs?
You know, Anand, good to be on your show as always. And like I did not heckle, I want the courtesy to be extended to me. And I say this because Abhi Hali mein in the last 48 hours, even when I smile, the opposition panelist said, why is she smiling? Why is she nodding her head? It's come down to that, as bizarre as that. But anyway, given that your debates are the saner amongst the larger lot, I expect better from the panelists. You know, pointedly, फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट तो हिंदी की कहावत से शुरू करूंगी। ताउम्र गालिब मैं भूल करता रहा, धूल चेहरे पर थी और मैं आईना साफ करता रहा। राहुल गांधी, ओमर अब्दुल्ला, ममता बनर्जी, अभिषेक बनर्जी, सस्पेंडेड वैरायटी ऑफ द कांग्रेस, सबको अपने चेहरे से धूल साफ करने की सख्त जरूरत है। एंड आई टेल यू व्हाई। फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट, I will read out Ashwini Vaishnav's tweet of yesterday, or post rather, where he says that Apple has also claimed that Apple IDs are securely encrypted on devices making it extremely difficult to access or identify them without the user's explicit permission. The encryption safeguards the user's Apple ID and ensures that it remains private and protected. The reason for starting off with this post by Ashwini Vaishnav, the IT Minister, is to simply tell your audience that ऐसा नहीं है कि आपका phone किसी state-sponsored attacker के द्वारा attack हो गया and your phone gets compromised. No, because there are various filters and firewalls and your Apple ID is encrypted. So your data has not been compromised. Point number one. Point number two, this whole Supreme Court judgment relating to Pegasus came up yesterday in the debates where I was there, including with Mr. Jha and today as well. Yes, indeed. The Justice R.V. Ravindran Committee probed 29 phones. Out of these 29 phones, the important point to be noted is none of them were detected with Pegasus spyware. Point number three, 5 phones were detected with some kind of malware. But to say that spyware is akin to malware is akin to saying that Sanju Verma is Queen Victoria, Sanjay Jha is Elton John, and Anand Narasimhan is Elvis Presley. Point number three, yes, the Supreme Court did say that the government did not cooperate. But to assume that non-cooperation on the part of the government means that the government bought spyware is like saying 2 + 2 = 22, जो कि यहाँ से आलू डालो वहां से सोना निकलेगा. उनकी बिरादरी में ये लॉजिक चलता होगा, हमारी बिरादरी में नहीं. Point number 5, and very importantly at that, the key stakeholders in the Pegasus controversy were the cyber firm NSO, which is an Israeli company. It said that we did not sell the spyware to India. In India, 3 companies, or rather 3 outfits, could have logically bought it. The IB, Intelligence Bureau, the RAW, or the National Security Council headed by Ajit Doval. And when asked pointedly, none of them admitted to having bought Pegasus spyware, but every Pinky and Johnny and every Tom, Dick and Harry said, "अरे, admit नहीं किया मतलब spyware खरीदा है." Point number 6, and very importantly at that, आज हमको भाषण कौन दे रहे हैं on the right to privacy? This is the same party which in 2010, when Congress was in power, it actually hacked into the emails and phones of Pranab Mukherjee when he was alive. He mentioned as much, and Manmohan Singh did not deny as much. This is the same Congress party which in 2010
now, Sanju Verma,
used to
please.
intercept. Can I just finish in 30 seconds, please?
Yes.
It used to intercept. Please, you took your time.
Okay.
Let me take
So,
30 seconds.
yeah.
This is the same Congress party which used to intercept 9,000 emails and 5,000 phone calls every day. But I will just end by saying this much. The Personal Data Protection Bill was passed in the Lok Sabha in August 2023. And the people who were clamoring that it should be passed are Rahul Gandhi and Kabal. But you know what, Anand? After the bill was passed in Lok Sabha, the entire opposition, including Congress, walked out, and Jairam Ramesh resigned from the Standing Committee of Science and Technology, saying, "अरे ये bill pass क्यों हुआ? तो इनको right to privacy से लेना देना नहीं है. Whatever Modi
Right.
does, that is harakiri
No,
and blasphemy for
see-
them. बात इतनी सी है."
But my thing is, there is no evidence against it, and I have not done it. Those are 2 separate questions, 2 separate responses. One is legally prudent. The other one takes a moral standpoint, clearing, saying that I have not done it. The other one is, where is the evidence? There is a difference here, very clear difference. The other thing is, one thing that stands out, which is why only opposition MPs have got this this alert on their Apple phones only. What happens? Android phones are not worth hacking, or they didn't even understand. We don't know. The other thing, Javed Ansari ji, that 150 countries mein same alert has gone. It's not specified any specific state-sponsored activity. Anand Ranganathan after Javed Ansari. Thank you for your patience. Yes.
No.
Javed ji.
Look, the fact that it's gone to a number of countries and everywhere, it's the same thing. That so perhaps this is for Apple to. This is a very generic alert, and on this generic alert, this whole furor has been. Apple should be more precise. And as far as this business of this alert going to different countries, if it's gone to Uganda or it's gone to say Pakistan, it's their state. The state there, probably the intention or the inference is that it's the state there is the government of the day in these countries which is hacking. Similar, but to blame the opposition for protesting is a bit unfair. So what would you do, Anand, if you got an alert like this? Of course, neither of us are important enough for the government to hack our phones, but assume for a moment that suppose I had got an alert, I would also protest. I would also try and draw the attention of authorities. The government says the government has done.
Sir, I will not blame Narendra Modi and the government. I will lodge an FIR and say find out who's doing it. सबसे पहले तो FIR लॉन्च करूंगा ना सर साइबर क्राइम डिपार्टमेंट
FIR लॉन्च करूंगा मैं कंप्लेंट करूंगा बट कैपेबिलिटी किसके पास है यहाँ who has the capability in the country forget Narendra Modi whether it's in the Congress regime or under any government the first suspicion goes to whoever is in the government. It's the government doing it because largely till now we know of governments doing it, not of and if there are corporates doing it, they will do it to corporates, not to individuals. No?
The point is, sir, if there are people who are accessing a particular platform and via that platform a backdoor has been created which gives access to certain people, and if it is a state-sponsored hacker, sir, state-sponsored hacker is very different from the state itself hacking. And an alert like this is triggers, it doesn't say that your phone has been hacked. They're just saying there is an attempt and an alert and it's been blocked. It's just to alert you, alarm you that switch off your phone or be mindful. And it's a simple process. You can Google a process to say if your phone is being hacked or if it's been cloned or mirrored. It's a hash 6767 if I remember correctly and star or something like that, which is very simple and knows all your apps, is it safe or not. It just gives you a random check. Immediately it's possible. और Apple पे तो होता ही नहीं, इसीलिए तो उतना प्रीमियम कलेक्ट करते हैं, उनके इतनी सारी लेयर्स हैं. मेरा ये कहना है, should those people who have come out and made the allegations, isn't the burden of proof on the prosecution, Anand Ranganathan? Those who make the allegation, they have to prove it. They can't just shoot and scoot, no?
Good evening, Anand, and good evening to my fellow panelists. First of all, can I please congratulate you and tell you that it's not for nothing that your show is the most loved one, because there are all the panelists respect each other, even though they may disagree with each other, and no one interrupts each other. So it's just fantastic, and congratulations to you, the anchor. Anand,
congratulations to you, the panelists. मेरा क्या है इसमें, आप लोग कर रहे हैं. It is thanks to you. Please carry on.
But let me say the same 4 panelists, or at least 3 of us, will be fighting like cats and dogs on other channels. So that's why I'm saying it's basically your goodwill that allows us to be very sincere. But anyway, Anand, I'm afraid there's been a massive misunderstanding. This is not state snooping, but rather industrial espionage. It was Adani snooping on Hiranandani's iPhone. And because Hiranandani's iPhone was gifted to Ms. Mahua Moitra, she concluded that Adani was snooping on her. And naturally, Rahul Gandhi jumped in. His next allegation is going to be that Amit Shah's secret sister, the Nigerian widow, Miss Odombe Uduba, has been writing emails trying to sequester all those millions of dollars that Rahul Gandhi has. Look, notwithstanding that some same Apple notification has gone to 150 countries, that Apple has clarified, quote, Apple threat notifications may be false alarms. Apple does not attribute the threat notifications to any specific state-sponsored attacker. We are unable to provide information about what causes us to issue threat notifications, unquote. Notwithstanding that the same notice has been received by Piyush Goyal, according to the IT minister, to Samir Saran, president of ORF, Rahul insists he's being snooped upon. In all honesty, I think it is Congress that needs to snoop on Rahul more than the BJP to be forewarned of his forthcoming embarrassments. Look, Anand, illegal snooping is criminal. So if there is evidence that someone in the NDA authorized illegal snooping, we are talking jail term. Remember the controversy over Pegasus? Now it merits revisiting. Just a couple of minutes, very important.
Yeah.
Where was the smoking gun? Both the Indian government as well as the NSO denied involvement. NSO even trashed the report, saying the leaked numbers were not from their database. Was there any evidence that connected Indian government to Pegasus? No. The portal buyer claimed the Indian government used Pegasus based on an analysis done by Amnesty. That itself would have raised eyebrows. एक तो करेला, ऊपर से नीम चढ़ा. And the same buyer later claimed the Indian government was using Tech Fog app to snoop and collect private data, a story that was discovered to be outright fraud. But Rahul Gandhi, who amplified that story, never ever apologized. Crucially, let us not forget that the Supreme Court did not find evidence of Pegasus in any of the 29 phones it investigated, or the 5 phones out of 29. It found malware. To say malware is the same as malware is like saying Rahul Gandhi is the same as Amit Shah. Look, phone tapping of political opponents is probably as old as the telephone itself, Anand, and every political party has been accused of it, and every political party has done it. From the 80s, when the Karnataka Chief Minister Ramakrishna Hegde had to resign because of allegations of phone tapping, to when Rajiv Gandhi indulged in large-scale phone tapping of his own cabinet colleagues, including Arif Mohammad Khan, to when Prime Minister Chandrasekhar declared that his own phone was being tapped, to chewing gum being found under Pranab Mukherjee's desk. Every politician has snooped. In 2014, Parliament was adjourned because it was alleged that the BJP was tapping its own Nitin Gadkari's phone. In 2010, UP alleged tapped Sharad Pawar's conversation with Modi. In short, have phone, will tap. Therefore, to give a government, any government, a clean sheet on tapping is not advisable. I won't do it, and it's fraught with danger. Finally, just 30 seconds. Although this point is subsidiary, Anand, you know, credence is given to any man's utterances only after knowing his antecedents. And over the last 9 years, we have seen these claimants for what they are: industrial scale liars, from peddling fake church attacks to intolerance to emergency to Rafale to judge lawyer to 1,000 other issues. They survive on quoting each other, hoping if a dozen wackos quote the same lie, it becomes the truth. I mean, I'd much rather believe in immaculate conception than the allegations made by these bottom feeders.
Right. You must explore the genre of satire. You know, you're very good at it, Anand Ranganathan. So the next effort, literary effort, should be thus. I have 3 authors in the midst, actually 4. So phenomenal.
But one thing is certain, Anand, one thing is certain, with the network being so bad as it is in Delhi, there is no chance of us being tapped. All Mr. Amit Shah would hear would be us screaming, "Hello, I can't hear you, landline se karta hu."
Anyway, Sanjay Jha and Sanjay Jha, quick round because I've got 3 minutes on the show. So please, quickly, please. Yeah, one minute each. Sanjay Jha, 1 minute.
Yeah.
And I will interrupt you in 60 seconds, please. The same with Sanju Verma and Javed Ansari. Yes. Yeah.
Number one, the no answer yet as to why did the government not cooperate on the Pegasus investigation, because that malware could have been a spyware. Number two, no confirmation from the government whether it bought Pegasus or not. By the way, a New York Times report that said that the Pegasus was bought by the government, which would be a contempt of the Supreme Court and a lie to the Parliament, has not been challenged by this government, and I'm sure this truth will come out. Point number 3, you mentioned about the 150 countries to which the Apple sent the threat notifications. Anand, let me tell you, that 150 countries is not today, it's since 2019.
Yeah.
Over the last 4 years, since Apple started issuing the threat notifications,
Correct.
it has sent it to 150 countries.
Correct.
What is so unusual about that? 1 minute. Point number 4. Very important. Out of a dozen people who have gone public, guess how many mobile phones do you have in India today? 12 million mobile phones are being used in India. 12 people have got the state-sponsored investigation threat. What is it telling you?
No. I don't say. I won't say that, sir. It is a, sir. It does not say the Indian state. State-sponsored hacking is being done by specific nations who are infamous for it.
Right.
So have you discounted them? You have not. Okay, spyware and malware are two different words, and they cannot be loosely exchanged. So the court has also not said spyware; it said malware, and it never said Pegasus spyware. It never said that. So that's also there in the court judgment. Yes, Sanju Verma ji. Yeah.
Anand, very quickly, since I have just a minute.
Sanjay ji, please. Please. Last 3 minute में पूरा 25 मिनट का इतना हमने शालीनता से किया, उसको ना बिगाड़े. Please. Yes.
Anand, I just have this to say. पिछले 24 घंटे में, राजा था, राजा की गर्दन तोते में है, और तोता यहाँ पर अडानी है. We've been hearing this narrative. तो मैं राजा और तोते की कहानी को आगे बढ़ाते हुए कहना चाहती हूँ, एक युवराज है और युवराज की गर्दन एक तोते में है. और वो तोता, उस तोते का नाम है जॉर्ज सोरोस. And I will tell you what I find most baffling is the fact that Apple is actually directing people whose phones, iPhones, may have been compromised by state-sponsored attackers to an NGO called Access Now, which is owned by Open Society Foundation, which is in turn owned by George Soros. And anyone who says that the BJP is hallucinating about a Soros link, as you rightly said in your introduction, right from the Vice President of Open Society Foundation, Salil Shetty, being a part of Rahul Gandhi's Bharat
See,
Jodo Yatra.
Soros' link with Access. Now, I have limited time, so I have to interrupt you, please.
Can I make my last point?
Okay, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds.
Thank you.
Yeah, be fair, yeah. You can't.
10 seconds, 10 seconds only, 10 seconds only, then I'll interrupt. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Point is this: if Rahul Gandhi feels that his phone is being hacked into, if MOHUA feels her phone is being hacked into, if Priyanka Chaturvedi feels her phone is being hacked into, please log into cybercrime.gov.in.
Correct. See, I have to wind up. I have to wind up. Mahua Maitra ji is under allegation of sharing her passwords with other people 41 times. So, in terms of phone being accessed by somebody else, the FIR should have been lodged faster. I agree. Anybody should agree. But ma'am, access.org Soros' stake is all right. But if access.org's job is to highlight and provide a service which gives an alert if the phone is being compromised, that's something which they will do irrespective of whose phone it is. Need not necessarily be only 12 opposition MPs. It could be anybody and everybody. So, I think I'm way over time. My apologies, Anand Ranganathan and Javed Ansari, that the two politicians in the mix have taken over your talk time today on this network. Thank you very much for a fantastic debate. We're going to take a short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, it's a special broadcast from Jammu and Kashmir. How Srinagar is buzzing way past sundown, and also we speak to the man who's engineering the change. Srinagar leads the smart city projects across the country. And we are in conversation with Amir Atar Khan, the CEO of Srinagar Smart City project and also its municipal commissioner. Stay with us.
Hello, Moto.
In the worrying category of 400 to 500. In fact, I'm coming to you from the Anand Vihar area right now, which continues to be worst affected here in the national capital. In fact, yesterday only, this particular area reported an AQI level of over 500. Right now also the AQI continues to hover somewhere around 420 levels here at Anand Vihar. Every year this is said to be one of the hotspots of pollution here in the national capital. One of the prime reasons when we talk about air pollution in the national capital continues to be the farm fires. But vehicular movement is also another aspect to it. You can see the kind of traffic this area cater to, and in fact not only traffic, but you can see the bus adda is also here at this very point. So there is a heavy vehicular movement of big vehicles, though an imposition has come into place where diesel buses from the adjoining states are not being allowed to enter to the national capital. Only electric, CNG and BS6 compliance diesel vehicles or buses will be allowed here in the national capital. In fact, there is a visual also coming in here how water guns and smoke guns are being continuously used to actually make a temporary solution of this entire situation. Though at this very pocket, in this very area, the AQI remains in the very, very poor category. In fact, it is going beyond that at some point in time. Yesterday was the day when 500 mark was breached here at Anand Vihar. In fact, Supreme Court is also taking up this issue of worsening air quality here in the national capital, where the Supreme Court has asked the 5 states, including national capital Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana and Punjab, to file an affidavit as to what measures they are taking to combat this current situation of worsening air quality here in the national capital. Well, the people of the national capital woke up to a hazy morning for the straight 5th day. Well, the air quality was already deteriorating, but now things have gone from bad to worse. In fact, today's AQI is as when we are recording this very report is somewhere around 336 levels, which is in the very poor category. I'm coming to you from the Kartavya Path area. On this side, you can see how bad the situation is here in the national capital. The smog has completely shrouded this area, and India Gate from this very point is barely visible. So this is a visual evidence of how the bad situation has turned here in the national capital. On the other side of the road as well, you can see the visibility has dipped a lot. Well, now this entire matter is panning out to be worse than the last 2 to 3 years, and this is what the officials had maintained, that October was worst in the last couple of years. Now, in some pockets yesterday, the AQI in fact had reached over the 500 mark, including the Anand Vihar area, and in fact some areas including Jangirpuri also reported AQI levels over 400 to 500. So this is a worrisome situation now. In fact, authorities have also kicked in to actually curb this situation. As of now, various measures have been implemented. The latest which has been implemented as of now by the government is that no diesel vehicles will be allowed, or diesel buses will be allowed.
The iconic Dal Lake gets its own insignia or signage. It gets its own name and branding, and this is all part of the Srinagar Smart City project. And what you see behind me, ladies and gentlemen, is more than 5.5 kilometers of cycling track. That's what you can do. You can get your own bike and you can cycle all around the Dal Lake. And the man whose team is working very, very hard, and he looks very fresh, but he's been having sleepless nights and tireless journeys, is the Municipal Commissioner of Srinagar and also the CEO of the Smart City projects, Atar Amir Khan. Atar, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And congratulations. You've just collected an award and air dashed back from Delhi. Tell us about that.
Yesterday itself. So the award is basically by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs for our integrated public transport system that we are developing here. So as part of Smart City, maybe we'll talk about it later. So we're working on this 5-pronged public transport system with heavily pedestrianizing the city so that people can walk all the short distances around.
And this 5-pronged is part of the 8 steps to Smart City.
It's 8 steps to Smart City.
So let's talk about it. Yeah.
Okay. So this broadly, if we look at this urban mobility point of view, we're looking at pedestrianizing the city. We have taken 100 kilometers of street network. So there are walkways. So that it's very comfortable for people to walk at least the shorter distances. Another is introducing public bicycling and active mobility for people, non-motorized transport. So that we are developing cycling tracks. We now have a public bicycle sharing scheme. So there are 100 docking stations across the city. You can get a cycle within your 500, 600 meters, irrespective of wherever you are in the city.
So I can bike around Srinagar?
Bike around. You can completely bike around the city. Take a cycle, go. You can leave it at the next station and go ahead. It's free
I've seen
for
something
even
like this in Stockholm and in Holland.
Yeah, very similar to that. Very similar to that. Then we are also working on the electric mobility in terms of e-bikes. We have incubated certain startups who are now running this public, I would say, e-bike sharing systems here. Then e-rickshaws as a feeder systems. Then for the first time now, city is going to have its own public, I would say, bus transport system. So it's all completely electric, completely non-emission based. So we have 100 electric buses which are running now in the city, which we have started here. Then we're also looking at the water transport. So walking, cycling, e-rickshaws, e-bikes,
and public transport,
e-buses and water transport. That forms I would say, a 5-pronged strategy for public transport.
Now that means that people really don't need to actually drive around Srinagar as much as they can lean on public transport and also just meander around their own time, and there is something to do everywhere.
Absolutely.
Now let's get to, this is one of the cogs out of the 8 steps.
Absolutely.
So what are the other 7 steps? And it seems like a grid-like thing that you're trying to do.
Yes, I would say for the first time probably in any city, there's been such a kind of integrated and comprehensive planning of urban renewal. That's why many now call it as a Srinagar model of urbanization. So what we have done is, we have taken the areas in the city, projects in the city, all well interconnected and integrated. For the first time, now we have the water front, the Jhelum river front. Now Jhelum is I would say, the nerve center for the city. That is where the city was habitated around. So now the entire Jhelum riverfront we have taken up for upgradation. A lot of public spaces are coming up, a lot of commercial spaces are coming up. So one is that.
So it's
Then
Singapore inspired or somewhere else
no,
inspired, or it is
I would
just
say it is more
Srinagar inspired?
Srinagar inspired. Now, water transport and that again we are trying to introduce both in River Jhelum as well as in the Dal Lake. Now, Jhelum is little peculiar in the sense that we have half of this riverfront, which is in the area where we have a lot of space around. So now in those places where we visited in the day, whether it is the Raj Bagh side or the Lal Chowk Bund side, so a lot of public spaces, cycling, walking spaces are coming up there. Then
and you
we
also
have-
cleared out some of the areas which were taken up for CRPF accommodation and all of that, and you've cleared that and made it public parking.
Yeah, a lot of spaces, because over a period of time the security situation has improved so much. Now the accesses have opened up. Even CRPF is so much cooperating with us that they're saying, please let's improve, let's convert a so-called a security picket into more of a public helpline, public help desk where people can come and if they have a problem we help them out.
That cluster there opens the way to the gallery also, doesn't it?
So under the Abdullah Bridge there was a certain space which used to be earlier closed, but it's now a public access towards the riverfront. Then in the riverfront again we used to have old heritage ghats. There are 45 of them which we have restored and renovated. Now we are using them both as ghats, as a public space, and also as a water transportation boarding and deboarding points. Then we have a lot of important heritage structures and shrines and temples all along the river.
Yeah.
Because at one point of time the city used to be river facing.
Correct.
So that's what we are trying to come back to. So those heritage structures are again being restored. That's important part of our, I would say, this first theme. So called Jhelum riverfront development and water transport. Second is the central business district upgradation. So in Srinagar city, whether we talk about the famed Lal Chowk, Residency Road, MA Road, Battamalu is again one more adjacent area which once upon a time used to be a commercial hub in the city. But I think past 30-40 years had completely lost its commercial value and commercial importance. So all of that area is being upgraded. So we are heavily investing in our drainage infrastructure. We are improvising our sewerage networks. This is probably for the first time in our central business district. We are having now separate segregated lines for drainage and sewerage. Otherwise it used to get all mixed up.
And your wires are also going underground.
Yes. Similarly, the electricity and communication utilities, we are putting them underground at most of these places. Many other places rationalizing them towards the sides so that walking spaces and roads are clear. So that underground electrification is again something which is, I would say, playing a huge role. Now it's not easy to do that electrification given our water table conditions, etc. Yet I think our engineers and experts have been doing it beautifully. The Polo View, Lal Chowk, Residency Road,
fantastic.
Riverfront.
The nightlife there also looks so good.
It's all underground.
And it's quite a buzzing place from what it was about, say, a decade ago or a decade and a half ago to what it is today. It's transformation. But
that is true. In fact, that was the broad objective also, that when we are doing some work somewhere, the purpose is people. It should gather people. So Lal Chowk is one of the important public spaces. 2 years back there would hardly be any person there even after 7 o'clock or around 7 o'clock. Now even 10, 12 o'clock you find hundreds and thousands of people there. Even I remember at one point of time police had to turn off the lights so that there were too many people gathering there. Similarly at the riverfront or Polo View or even the lakefront and all across this periphery, there are hundreds and thousands of people coming every day. That was the purpose, that people should come out.
See, abrogation happened about 4 years ago, and I've been almost coming every year, and some of our VJs are also regulars that we've been coming. But we had not seen all of this happening. So this recent phenomena, what, a year and a half, 18 months is what we are seeing all of this happen?
Basically, Srinagar is part of the Government of India's Smart Cities mission. It's one of the 100 smart cities. But somehow, since 2017, I would say till 2021, not much of the work had happened. So this is a, I would say, post-21 phenomenon. So year 2021 took us for the broader planning of these projects, developing DPRs. We got some of the best experts from all across the country, urban designers, urban planners, structural engineers, to help us out. How do we do it? Then similarly, a lot of our local experts and local professionals came also on board. So the year 21 broadly took us for the planning, and in 22 we started execution of this project. So since past 1 year we are in the execution phase, and this will go on for another, I would say, at least 6-7 months. A broad target is by the mid of next year, 24, most of this work should be complete.
But ek baat bataएं, I have come here in the past, And this used to be what, about 5-6 feet,
No.
and then
Yeah, it
you
used
didn't
to
have
be.
so much of
It
space.
used to be actually 1.5 feet to 2 feet wide walking space.
Yeah,
so
itna
the
hota tha
road
bas,
was
haan.
as it is. The grill that
Haan.
is there. We have actually reused the grill. It used to be here.
Here, haan.
So that is when
So what
we
did
have.
you do
This
all
is
this?
around now an 18 feet wide walking space.
So what, you encroached into
No,
the lake?
we have not exact. That's
You've
the
not.
beauty of this project. So what we have done is there was a certain sloping area towards the lake.
Yeah.
So what we have done is we have gone slightly deeper, done certain piling to a certain extent. Then on columns, this is all taken out on a cantilever.
So it's a cantilever.
It's a cantilever. You can maybe
Wow.
if we can pan
So
from
I'm
here.
just, we're breaking away, but
Yeah.
oh wow.
So this is out on a cantilever. So, and not even an inch, the beauty of this project is that not even an inch of the water body has been
Touched.
impeded.
But
So we
you've
have
created
been
about
able
20 feet of space.
to create around 18 feet wide
18
space.
feet wide space, which is broken into cycling, and it is also broken into walkways.
Yes. So now this is, hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you as well.
Big
Thank
fan
you.
of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now this is the part of our lakefront upgradation. Now in the Dal Lake, what we have done is there's a starting point we call as Dal Gate.
Yeah.
From Dal Gate to Nishat. So on both the sides of the road, there are now proper 2 walkways. There's a left boulevard walking space and the right walking space. It's around 9 kilometers. So that portion has been pedestrianized. Then if you can see from here, there's this middle right,
The bund.
the kind of a bund in right across the Dal Lake.
Dal Lake,
So
yeah.
some people used to run cars over there, and this was in complete shambles. Now we are converting it again into a cycling and a walking space.
So the 5.5 kilometers of this, that's
so
about
this
2.5
becomes 5.5 kilometers till this point. Then from this Nishad garden, outside the Nishad garden, that precinct again we are redoing, so that it's again walkable, it's again convenient for cyclists to go around, and also so that there is no traffic congestion over there. And then this walking and cycling space, we are connecting it with the other one. We call it Nishad Sattu. So maybe after 4-5 months, once you are back, this is going to be a complete circle around the complete ring around the Dal Lake.
5 months is what you're saying. So
Yes.
the बर्फ भी पिघल जाएगी, so April पकड़ लेते हैं.
It will be.
So you and me
perfect-
have to bike.
We have to bike. We have
And
to bike.
we'll have this whole chat
And
while biking.
then if we go slightly ahead of here, so there is a canal called the Shalimar Canal.
Yeah.
That Shalimar Canal connects Shalimar Garden with the Dal Lake. It's around another more than a kilometer in length. Now my sense is, had it been in any other country, it would have been probably one of the most beautiful, maybe like an Amsterdam, Kaizencraft or something like that. But it was again in complete shambles, and that we have again taken for restoration. So we are restoring both. So we have done a lot of cobble paths around it, and also we are trying to improvise on the water channel so that maybe Shikara can go from here and reach the Shalimar
All the way.
Garden up till Shalimar Garden. We have also made some nice bridges around it. That Shalimar Canal project is again something very important. Outside the Shalimar Garden, that precinct has again been redesigned, redone. Walking spaces have been properly carved out. Spaces for people to park cars, embarking points and disembarking points for the vehicles, those have been done. So if you look at the Dal periphery, so Shalimar gets connected with Dal Lake through the Shalimar Canal. Then this entire Dal periphery gets a cycling and a very strong world-class walking infrastructure around it. Similarly, right across the Dal Lake, the old Nishat Sathu gets converted into a walking, cycling space, and that space is a lot used for fishing also. You find every evening for a lot of people sitting along the banks of that place and fishing. So that's again something which we wanted to do. So then beyond this, then we have the Hazrat Bal on the other side. That is where this walkway and cycling space ends. And then from there on, we are working on our old city projects.
Oh, lovely.
So, and heritage conservation of our downtown is again, I would say, one of the very important works that is going on.
For the first time, downtown has been spoken about as part of a heritage city and as part of a project in terms of trying to really do something.
Absolutely. I would say this is probably for the first time post-independence such work is happening in the downtown also. Now, with respect to the old city, what we have done is, From Dalgate, there is one road called a Dalgate Gojwara Road.
Yeah.
So that is one of the accesses into the old city. It goes right through the Jame Masjid. So that becomes one of the entries into the old city. Similarly, towards the western side, we have a road called a Nalemar Road. So that Nalemar Road becomes another interconnection into the old city. So we are redoing both of these roads which go into the old city. Then around the old city, we have taken broadly 3 zones. And we call it Shahri Khas. That is where our most heritage markets used to be. That's where most of the heritage structures, whether it is the Khankai Mohalla, whether it is the Jame Masjid, whether it is the Pathar Masjid, whether it is the Hanuman Mandir, whether it is the Habba Kadal, all those areas are getting an upgradation. Again, the upgradation is not just some kind of a beautification. We are building drainage networks, we are building sewerage networks. In many of those areas, you would otherwise find that there's fecal matter going on around in the drains. Now that is being captured into the sewerage networks. Then electricity lines, they are being put underground. Communication lines are being put underground. The heritage buildings which are on both sides, we are not dismantling them, we are not letting people to dismantle them. We are again improving, conserving them, doing the facade improvement. We used to have this something called as Daji Diwari, which is a traditional architecture of this place, and that is again being incorporated into that broader planning.
All this is a lot of work, and you're saying how much of this has been now completed? 60-70% of it?
I would say at present we are at around 60% of its
60%.
completion, 60-70% of its completion. Now in some projects it's 100%, in other projects maybe 90%, in some projects it's maybe 30 or 40%.
So should I say summer of 2024?
Summer of 2024 is the target for us. In fact, Government of India has also given us a target of June 2024, and we are also well within those targets. And these are, by the way, some of the fastest executed projects. If you see the Residency Road in Lal Chowk, you must have seen it, that we had started work in the month of February. Now February, March, April is broadly the part of the winter only, and we inaugurated the project in August. So that was hardly 4 or 5 months of
this
good
itself
time.
About 5.5 kilometers, ladies and gentlemen, of cantilever, and all of this already done. And I've walked, we've gone quite a fair bit, about 3-4 kilometers further on. It's all been done. And this is what, in 8 months, 9 months?
Yes, roughly around 8-9 months.
That's So what is life after sundown here in Srinagar? This is the famed Lal Chowk area, and this is the Polo View market, which got a lovely spruced up look now. Have a look at it. It's just beautiful. It's a lovely walk in the evening. And there is a buzzing nightlife here too. And it's got its own flavor, ladies and gentlemen. Have a look at this. This is an impromptu performance. Street performers, folk performers, and kids, everybody just enjoying the dance. And these beats are the local beats. These are Kashmiri beats. And this is so nice. Now we've got the lights all coming out, and it's a beautiful promenade that looks fantastic. अमित, एक बात बताइए, आप और आपके जो ये आपके भाई हैं, आपके दोस्त हैं?
दोस्त हैं सर।
दोस्त हैं। तो आप लोग सब क्या बजा रहे थे और कैसे कर रहे थे?
सर हमने 3rd क्लास से सीखा है। ये हमारा कल्चर है कश्मीर का। कश्मीर का
इसको क्या बोलते हैं?
इसको बोलते हैं मटका।
मटका, हाँ
जी सर, ये मैंने अपने उस्ताद से सीखा है बजाना।
इसको बजाना,
हाँ।
पर ये जो साउथ में या फिर दूसरे भारत के दूसरे पास में जो मटका होता है उससे थोड़ा डिफरेंट है ना, क्योंकि इसकी गर्दन लंबी है।
ये मिट्टी का है।
हाँ, उधर भी मिट्टी का है, लेकिन गर्दन उसमें चौड़ी होती है, इसमें लंबी है, तो इसमें आपका ट्रेबल थोड़ा शार्प साउंड आता है, साउंड।
हाँ सर।
पर आप तो थर्ड स्टैंडर्ड से आप सीख रहे हैं इसको?
जी सर।
और उसके साथ जो हारमोनियम बज रहा था, और
जी
हारमोनियम के साथ क्या बज रहा था?
जी तुम अखबारी।
हाँ, तुम अखबारी बज
हाँ।
रहे थे। और उसमें आप क्या बजा रहे थे?
सर वो अपने अपनी वो इसमें होते हैं कुछ जैसे इसमें जैसे हमने नाम दिया है अपने अपने तरीके से।
हाँ,
इसमें
हाँ।
जो हम बजाते हैं इसमें हम नाम देते हैं।
इसको नाम
जैसे ये भंगड़ा है।
हाँ। हाँ।
ये कश्मीरी, इसको बोलते हैं छल। इसमें फिर पीस लगते हैं सर।
हाँ, हाँ।
वो पीस हमारे हाथों में है।
हाथ में है।
हाँ,
तो
जो जिस टाइम बजाना होता है।
बजा के दिखाएंगे? क्या बात है। Hi, what's your name?
Huzair.
Huzair, so what do you do, Huzair?
I'm a professional athlete.
You're an athlete?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I'm doing running.
You're doing running?
Long running. I'm doing practicing also day by day. And growing, I'm expectation is my first run is Srinagar to Leh. Also, I am doing Srinagar to Delhi. 950 kilometers in 7 days.
आप 950 kilometers Srinagar to Delhi 7 दिन में भाग चुके हैं?
Yes, sir.
What are these certificates that you're carrying?
Certificate is Influencer Book of Records.
You are in the Influencer Book of Records as what?
From Srinagar to Baramulla.
Okay, for running from Srinagar to Baramulla. And are you encouraging? Oh, you got another certificate. Okay, let me hold this for you.
It's an international record.
Okay.
Srinagar to Delhi, 950 kilometers.
950 kilometers.
940 kilometers distance.
940 kilometers distance.
In 7 days.
This is just one of the many spots, and that's the reason why the smart city streets and places and celebration and corners, Srinagar was the one that was the role model for nearly 100 municipal commissioners and mayors across the length and breadth of Bharat who came here to learn, to see how we can develop spots where people can gather, they can congregate, they can have a little bit of fun, and also there can be...
in the national capital. If the buses are electric, if the buses are CNG, or if the buses are compliant with the BS6 norms of the diesel vehicles, then only those buses will be allowed. In fact, other measures are also in place, but as of now, the situation looks very bad here in the national capital. With national capital reeling under heavy smog, there are certain pockets which are reporting AQI in the worrying category of 400 to 500. In fact, I'm coming to you from the Anand Vihar area right now, which continues to be worst affected here in the national capital. In fact, yesterday only this particular area reported an AQI level of over 500. Right now also the AQI continues to hover somewhere around 420 levels here at Anand Vihar. Every year this is said to be one of the hotspots of pollution here in the national capital. One of the prime reasons when we talk about air pollution in the national capital continues to be the farm fires. But vehicular movement is also another aspect to it. You can see the kind of traffic this area cater to, and in fact not only traffic, but you can see the bus adda is also here at this very point. So there is a heavy vehicular movement of big vehicles, though an imposition has come into place where diesel buses from the adjoining states are not being allowed to enter to the national capital. Only electric, CNG and BS6 compliance diesel vehicles or buses will be allowed here in the national capital. In fact, there is a visual also coming in here how water guns and smoke guns are being continuously used to actually make a temporary solution of this entire situation. Though at this very pocket, in this very area, the AQI remains in the very poor category. In fact, it is going beyond that at some point in time. Yesterday was the day when 500 mark was breached here at Anand Vihar. In fact, Supreme Court is also taking up this issue of worsening air quality here in the national capital, where the Supreme Court has asked the 5 states, including national capital Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana and Punjab, to file an affidavit as to what measures they are taking to combat this current situation of worsening air quality here in the national capital. Well, the people of the national capital woke up to a hazy morning for the straight fifth day. Well, the air quality was already deteriorating, but now things have gone from bad to worse. In fact, today's AQI is as when we are recording this very report is somewhere around 336 levels, which is in the very poor category. I'm coming to you from the Kartavya Path area. On this side, you can see how bad the situation is here in the national capital. The smog has completely shrouded this area, and India Gate from this very point is barely visible. So this is a visual evidence of how the bad situation has turned here in the national capital. On the other side of the road as well, you can see the visibility has dipped a lot. Well, now this entire matter is panning out to be worse than the last 2 to 3 years, and this is what the officials had maintained, that October was worst in the last couple of years. Now, in some pockets yesterday, the AQI in fact had reached over the 500 mark, including the Anand Vihar area, and in fact some areas including Jangir.
Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. The Snoopgate saga involving Apple phones of certain opposition leaders in the country has now got a new twist today. The BJP claimed that one of the NGOs that was mentioned in that Apple notification, which alerted the potential